You are listening to The Standards Desk of News from The Standard Show, the podcast that brings you the stories behind the standards, with Matthew Childs and Cindy Parakill.
Hey, Cindy Parakill.
Hey, Matthew Childs.
Well, shall we have the Standards Desk of News?
Yep, let's do it.
Yes, this is the Standards Desk of News. News about standards and standards in the news. And this time we are covering stories from October 2024.
And we start with BSI's relationship with the UK government.
Yes, BSI and the UK government have agreed an updated Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, recognising BSI's continuing role as the UK's national standards body. Though BSI's status as the NSB is not underpinned by statutory backing, the MOU sets out the government and BSI's mutual understanding of the NSB role. BSI has had an MOU with the UK government for over 40 years, and this is the first revision since 2002, ensuring that the agreement remains fit for purpose. The MOU recognises the importance of continuing to represent UK views in the international standards system, including ISO and IEC, and in the European standards organisations CEN and CENELEC. It also highlights the need to include all stakeholders when developing standards. Specifically, the updated MOU represents the agreement between BSI and the UK government on the NSB's role in supporting government policy and in acting in the UK's national interest, including around national priorities such as economic growth, innovation, net zero, environmental protection, product safety, and consumer interests. From the MOU to the IEC.
Taking place from the 21st to the 25th of October was the 88th International Electrotechnical Commission General Meeting, or the IEC-GM. Hosted by BSI, the event took place in Edinburgh, in Scotland. It marked the first time in 35 years that this event was happening in the UK. And it coincided with the 200th anniversary of the birth of the Scottish mathematician and pioneering electrotechnical engineer, Lord Kelvin, the first president of the IEC. Around 1,500 global experts attended the GM, technical committees, and governance meetings to discuss best practice and future planning. The theme of the event was Towards an All-Electric and Connected Society. And alongside the GM, a further 500 or so standards enthusiasts, policymakers, academics, students, and others attended 4 special showcase days about smart cities, AI, sustainability, and quantum. There'll be more about the IEC-GM in next month's Standards Desk of News.
Yes, indeed. But before we move on from the IEC, a reminder to check out the recent Standards in 10 Minutes episode, a guide to the IEC, to discover the 10 things you need to know. Available now on the podcast feed.
Well, from showcase days to World Standards Day.
Nicely done. Every year on the 14th of October, we recognise the thousands of experts around the world who create the international standards that shape our daily lives. These standards help make the world safer, smarter, and better. From the everyday products we use to tackling big global challenges, they play a crucial role in improving how we live and work. For the past few years, the theme for World Standards Day has been to highlight how international standards play a key role in achieving the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs. For 2024, the spotlight was on how standards help ensure that AI is being developed and used responsibly to boost innovation and build sustainable infrastructure, which is the subject of SDG 9. Belated Happy World Standards Day, Cindy Parakill.
And to you too, Matthew Childs.
And finally, celebrating World Space Week.
Taking place every 4th to the 10th of October, World Space Week is an international celebration of science and technology and their contribution to the betterment of the human condition. In 1999, the UN General Assembly declared that World Space Week will be held each year between these 2 dates, which commemorate 2 significant events in the history of space exploration. The 4th of October 1957 saw the launch of the first human-made Earth satellite, Sputnik 1, opening the way for space exploration. And the 10th of October 1967 saw the signing of the Treaty on Principles Governing the Activities of the States in the Exploration and Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, including the Moon and other celestial bodies.
Hold on a second. Run that past me again. I love that. Governing the activities of states in the exploration and peaceful uses of outer space.
Indeed. Pretty cool. So, over 200 international standards are used by major space agencies globally, facilitating collaboration and data sharing across the industry. Standards like ISO 23312, which provide guidelines for designing and operating unmanned spacecraft to reduce space debris in Earth orbit, and ISO 26900, which specifies the formats of messages helping spacecraft operators share information easily, like pre-flight plans or warnings about possible collisions, so that they can adjust their spacecraft to avoid accidents.
Important stuff. Now, a very celebratory Standards Desk of News this month, Cindy Parakill.
It was indeed, and we should have brought cake.
We should have done. We haven't done that for a while.
True.
Now, a reminder, you can find links to some of the stories we have featured today in the show notes. And the show notes are also where you can find details of our socials and all the other ways to get in touch with us here on The Standard Show. Well, thank you, Cindy Parakill.
Thank you, Matthew Giles.
For October 2024, that's the Standards Desk of News.
You have been listening to The Standards Desk of News from The Standard Show, the podcast that brings you the stories behind the standards.
You just heard a Stripped Media production.